Good morning.
Good morning.
What a beautiful way to start our service this morning. Thank you so much for that gorgeous music. Welcome to First Parish in Framingham. I'm Jan Miller, co-chair of the Board of Assessors. I use she, her pronouns, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. It's so nice to see everybody. The little bit of sun still shining. We'll take it. First Parish in Framingham is a welcoming congregation. We celebrate and welcome people of all sexual orientations, races, ages, gender identities, abilities, and beliefs. We welcome you if you're joining us in the meeting house on Zoom, or if you're watching this service at a later time. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you're welcome here. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religion that honors wisdom from many sources. We keep our minds open to the religious questions people have struggled with in all times and places. I draw your attention to the announcements in the order of service. Immediately following our service, you're invited to join us for our coffee hour in Scott Hall, just across the courtyard. For the safety and comfort of all, please remember to keep your mask on at all times when you're inside a First Parish building, unless you're actively eating or drinking. Please also turn your phones and other devices that might make noise to their quietest setting. Finally, I offer this. Since 1701, people just like you have gathered in this spot, seeking peace and seeking meaning. We come here to rest or to be recharged, to be challenged or affirmed. We work to support deeper connections, individual growth, and sustaining and maintaining this beloved community. You belong here, maybe only for the next hour, but we hope for longer. You belong here, and we are happy to have you with us. I now invite you to settle into this space. Take a comfortable breath in and out. Continue to take a few more breaths over the next few moments. Begin to let go of what you need to let go of to be more fully present to yourself, one another, and the sacred in this time and place. A flame within a chalice is a primary symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith tradition to symbolize the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. It is our tradition to begin our worship by kindling the flame of our chalice. We light our chalice this morning with these words. We gather today to honor the complexity of our human experience. We light this chalice in recognition of the intermingling of grief and joy. In the midst of sorrow and loss, we find moments of tenderness, grace, and hope. Even in our darkest hours, there are glimpses of light that guide us forward. In the midst of celebration and hope, we can still feel loss and sadness. May this flame remind us that the path to healing and wholeness is not linear, and that both sadness and gladness are essential parts of our journey. May we hold space for ourselves and each other as we navigate the ebbs and flows of life, and may this chalice serve as a symbol of the power of community to hold us in times of both celebration and sorrow. Please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, and remain standing for our sung affirmation and spoken affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve all life with compassion, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
From the beginning of time, parents have brought their children to communities to be dedicated. In the presence of family and friends, children are given their names, and parents declare their responsibility and commitment to their children. Today, we have the joy of dedicating, blessing, and naming Cara Marjorie Fitzgerald. I invite Cara's family forward.
Ellen and Kim, this ceremony reflects your gratitude for the child who is part of your family and your understanding of the seriousness of the responsibilities you have undertaken as parents. Yeah, that's seriousness. Do you now commit yourselves to the best of your ability to parent this child with kindness, respect, patience, and love? Will you accept Cara and cherish her for who she is and who she will become? Will you help Cara to believe in herself and in the goodness of the world? Do you promise to do everything within your power to strengthen and guide her on a path of peace, generosity, respect, kindness, and love? If so, say, we will. We will.
What name have you chosen for this child?
Cara Marjorie Fitzgerald.
Cara Marjorie, we welcome you in love, a new member of the human community. By this name you will be known, Your name was chosen to remember two of your great grandmothers. May their example serve as an inspiration for your life. It is our hope that you will wear this name in their honor and in peace, in kindness, and in courage. Cara Marjorie, your name was chosen for you with care and hope. In this circle of friends and family, you are named. May your name be spoken with love throughout all of your years. This water, which we use, was gathered by our congregation at the beginning of the church year. Yeah, it's a little wet, it's a little strange. And I bless you in the spirit of love and dedicate you in the life of truth and compassion. May gladness anoint your head, and may you have courage for your journey. This flower is a symbol of natural beauty. Like a flower, each child is precious and unique. Cara, may your life unfold in beauty. And now we have a prayer from the grandmother.
Will you pray with me, please? Powerful creator of all that is, you flung the stars and planets in their orbits, and you brought Cara to this family and to this family in faith. We give you thanks for the generations that have gone before us, Carol and Marjorie's generation, who taught us to love extravagantly and who brought us tradition and joy. We give you thanks for Cara's family today, for their love, care, and support of her and Nate, and for their support of their parents. We give you thanks that you hold Cara's life into a future we cannot yet see, and that in her life we find hope, that love endures, that peace may prevail, that joy might multiply. Bless Cara today, and bless us with courage and love and integrity, that we will be her examples in life. Bless this family with our expansive circle of care, and bless this community as they welcome this child and her family into an embrace and an example of hope. Powerful Creator, you know the deepest desires of our hearts as parents, as grandparents, as relatives and friends. Hear them now. Hear our hopes and prayers for Cara and all your children everywhere. In love we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please repeat after me a blessing from the congregation. It is in the order of service. Cara, we wish you a long life and much joy and happiness. May you face all challenges that come to you as a person of integrity. May you bring great joy and love to your family, friends, and communities. May you contribute to make this world a better place, a happy and peaceful place for all of us. May you be blessed, and may your life be a blessing to the world. In the name of the Spirit of love and by the love of her community and family and friends, I declare this child, Cara Marjorie Fitzgerald, dedicated, named, and blessed. Will the congregation please repeat after me, welcome, Cara. Welcome, Cara. And of course, please join us for cake that the family has provided during coffee hour. We'll now sing our children, youth, and teachers to religious exploration. I am the Reverend Aaron Stockwell-Wiseman, the senior minister here at First Parish. I use he, him pronouns. This is the time in our service that we set aside for joy and the sharing of sorrow. We set aside this time because we know that joy shared is joy expanded, and sorrow shared can feel as though someone is lifting a burden. You can write down your joys or sorrows, or your uncertainties that you wish for all of us to hear in the book at the back of the sanctuary, or you can submit them online. I begin with this sorrow, these sorrows. Vicky K. writes, "My friend Amy has been battling ovarian cancer for over 5 years. She is now entering a clinical trial and in need of prayers." I share this concern and hope from Sarah M. May we as a people everywhere in the world cease killing each other. I lift up, of course, the sorrows of the Michigan State community after yet another mass shooting on a campus earlier this week. And I also lift up concern for all of the students, teachers, family, faculty, and staff at Framingham High School after an active shooter false alarm. I cannot imagine how traumatic that was. Let us now sing the first verse of Comfort Me. The lyric is Comfort Me. Comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, oh my soul. I share these joys. Jim H. writes, "A baby girl was born into his extended family." Larry B. shares, "Patricia and I just celebrated our 61st anniversary." Julie P. writes, "Our new grandson, Rory Griffith Dotsman, joined the world on Friday morning at 11:09, weighing in at 9 pounds 11 ounces, the exact opposite of his time of birth." Happy parents are our son David and his husband Matt. Rory grew for the last 9 months in surrogate extraordinaire, our daughter Marcy. Love is overflowing. Jackie R. writes, "My joy is love and gratitude for my amazing and brave daughter, Allie, and the opportunity for her to share this moment of deep connection with Dean through their musical performance today." I share from Ben L., "My grandfather, who has just returned home from the hospital and is starting the recovery from cancer." And this from Dave D. "Happy to be in church with my wife Deb for only the second time in 2023. We'll be celebrating the event by hosting at coffee hour today." Let us now sing the second verse of Comfort Me. we light one final candle for all of the joys and the sorrows which remain unspoken, which are too great to share today. Let us sing one final verse of Comfort Me. The lyric is, "Speak for me." Speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Our time for contemplation this morning is adapted from an embodied prayer by the Benedictine nuns of Cuernavaca, Mexico. You are invited to participate as much or as little as you like. There are hand movements and body movements, so feel free to do what feels comfortable, to leave what doesn't to the other people to enjoy. Placing our feet on the ground, we feel its energy, breathing, slowing, relaxing our bodies, and opening to the spirit of life. Bringing our hands into the prayer position with our thumbs touching the heart, we remember our connection to all that is. Bringing our hands down, open, palms up, in a gesture symbolic of gratitude, we recognize the gifts of this day. Grateful for the gifts we recognize and those we don't. Grateful for those who people our circles. We open ourselves to receive the gifts of this week's journey. Touching our palms back to back, fingers pointing up to the sky in a gesture symbolic of gratitude. We remember our past, all that brought us here, grateful for all of what has made us who we are. We give thanks for our individual and collective past. Turning our hands backs still together, fingers moving in to touch the heart in a gesture recognizing our authentic selves. We feel our emotions, feeling we are right where we are right now, and all that is happening inside, who we are without the masks. We give thanks for our authentic selves and all the feelings we carry into this moment and into this week. Extending our arms out, palms down, we reach for the good, the sacred, in a gesture symbolic of reaching for perhaps God or the good, our yearning to connect and to love and to be loved. Bringing our arms up to the sky, we give thanks for the air that we share, rich and poor, all of creation. We acknowledge that we pollute the air. We ask forgiveness. We acknowledge the mystery of the skies, the universe, and we give thanks. Coming down now to touch the earth, we express thanks for her. We acknowledge that we often do not even recognize that we are walking on her. And we acknowledge that we pollute and harm the earth, and we ask for forgiveness. Standing as you are willing and able, we bring our hands in prayer position to the third eye. We ask for vision, for clarity, for new ways to live and love, bringing our hands back to the heart, touching our center. We feel how we are always connected to the spirit of life. And now returning to our seats. May we each now settle into that deep stillness in this gathered community, that has been strong for generations. We enter this time of silence so that we might rest, recharge, listen to our neighbors, perhaps simply do nothing. I'll keep track of the time.
May it be so, and amen.
The purpose of the church is to encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit and in action. This is the great end of all the world's faith traditions, to bring human beings closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. If this is your first time joining us, you're invited to let the offering pass you by. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Our reading this morning is by Barbara Crooker, entitled Strewn. It had been a long winter, rags of snow hanging on. Then at the end of April, an icy nor'easter, powerful as a hurricane. But now I've landed on the coast of Maine, visiting a friend who lives 2 blocks from the ocean, and I can't believe my luck. Out this mild morning, race walking along the Strand. Every dog within 50 miles is off leash, running for the sheer dopey joy of it. No one's in the water, but walkers and shellers leave their tracks on the hardpack. The flat sand shines as if varnished in a painting. Underfoot, strewn, are broken bits and pieces, deep indigo mussels, whorls of whelk, chips of purple and white wampum, hinges of quahog, fragments of sand dollars. Nothing whole, everything broken, washed up here, stranded. The light pours down a rinse of lemon on a cold plate. All of us, broken some way or other, all of us dazzling in the brilliant slanting light.
And let's hear this poem once more. It had been a long winter, rags of snow hanging on. Then at the end of April, an icy nor'easter, powerful as a hurricane. But now I've landed on the coast of Maine, visiting a friend who lives 2 blocks from the ocean, and I can't believe my luck. Out this morning, race walking along the Strand. Every dog within 50 miles is off leash, running for the sheer dopey joy of it. No one's in the water, but walkers and shellers leave their tracks on the hard pack. The flat sand shines as if varnished in a painting. Underfoot, strewn, are broken bits and pieces, deep indigo mussels, whirls of whelk, chips of purple and white wampum, hinges of quahog, fragments of sand dollars, nothing whole, everything broken, washed up here, stranded. The light pours down a rinse of lemon on a cold plate. All of us broken, some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant, slanting light. All of us broken some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant, slanting light. Some years ago, the writer John Koenig wrote a collection of made-up words that, of course, has become so virally shared. Some people think that those words are real. After all, how does a word become real? It is in the collection called A Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. This morning, the word from that collection that seems most relevant is sonder, which John Koenig describes as the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and as complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. An epic story that continues invisibly around you like an anthill sprawling deep underground, with elaborate passageways to thousands of other lives that you will never know existed, in which you might appear only once as an extra sipping coffee in the background, as a blur of traffic passing on the highway, as a lighted window at dusk. Sonder as a word also comes from the Old French meaning fathom, probe, measure the depth of the sea. Feels like a beautiful way to describe what I am feeling right now. All of us broken, some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant slanting light. Because I know this truth, and you probably know it too, that on the day you were born, the day siblings were born, for me, the day my nephews or godsons were born, statistically, in all likelihood, somebody somewhere died. Someone else that I will never know was also born. And I know that on the day that my grandmother died or grandfather died, statistically, in all likelihood, somebody somewhere died. Somebody else that I will never know and never meet was born as well. I know that on the day that I was married, in all likelihood, somebody somewhere broke up, got a divorce, or was widowed. Chances are good someone else fell in love and got married on that same day. I know that on the day that I was ordained, chances are good a pastor, a rabbi, or an imam somewhere lost their job, started a job, resigned, or happily retired. It's very likely. On this day when we have dedicated Cara, somebody somewhere is likely giving church their last try. Another community is also somewhere recognizing new life entering their community. This is the circle of life, and another's life event does not diminish the significance of yours. It means that when we are overjoyed, maybe somehow we can let our joy be tinged with a little sadness. We know that we each have our separate circles of life, and that those are interlocking and overlapping wheels with someone else's life. Maybe it's more like a spiral. We each are beautiful spirals of love and tears, sorrow and laughter that intersect all the time. Letting our feelings be what they are is good and natural, and we will never know what is a big deal or a small deal to someone. We are never in a position to compare, because all of us broke in some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant slanting light. We had this practice at the first church that I served in College Station, Texas, of sharing the joys and the sorrows in the newsletter each month, and I was the person who would order those. Put them in an order, not order them up from somebody, of course. There was one time when someone, a younger child, shared that they had lost a tooth that week. And that same week, or the week after, somebody shared that they had received a serious diagnosis, an illness. And I had put those right next to each other in the newsletter. Someone said to me, it's strange to share those next to each other. Someone's small concern with a big concern. And I thought about that. I still think about that because I'm sharing it with you right now, of course. What happens when we put those next to each other? The circle of life means that people are having big joy and big sorrow right together, right next to each other. And there is beauty in my big joy being next to someone's big sorrow. Of course, I guess both are responses, both the tooth being lost and illness are responses to something that is happening with our bodies that we might be confused about. Both feel like things that happen as we age. We lose teeth, sometimes joyful earlier in life, sometimes sorrowful later in life. And because of the joy of intentionally multi-generational community, life happens at different stages. They all happen at the same time. Carl Scoville, who for a time served up the road at First Parish in Sudbury, but served at King's Chapel for most of his career, wrote this. He called it the Great Surmise. He said, "At the heart of all creation lies a good intent, a purposeful goodness, from which we come, by which we live our fullest, to which we shall at last return. and this is the supreme reality of our lives. But how do we live into this realization? How do we deal with it? Because it is a lot to deal with. Reverend Julie Stoneberg summarizes it nicely. First, we need practice. We need to commit ourselves to practices and disciplines that empty us. We need to empty ourselves enough to be places where that goodness, where that divinity can reside. And second, Reverend Scoville says, we need to participate in a community that believes at its core in that goodness and celebrates it. Another one of Scoville's assumptions beyond experience being formed by belief is that belief is formed by community. We need, if we are to accept and integrate his great surmise, to share in the life and faith of a community that shares that belief with us. There is power in having these rites of passage in a communal setting, with all of us broken some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant, slanting light. We have rituals to acknowledge and serve as a container for all of the feelings and transitions that we encounter in life. Rituals help us to accept the reality of this new phase of our life. They help us to process the emotions of that life transition. They help us to adjust to the new life. They help us connect with this new stage throughout the rest of our lives. Child dedications and other rituals at birth remind parents and families of the preciousness of that new stage that they are entering into, reminding all that there are important needs beyond ensuring the child's physical safety, but also their emotional and spiritual well-beings. We teach as Unitarian Universalists that it is up to each of us to find our spiritual truths. We are a faith tradition that focuses on covenant, not creed, agreeing about our work in the world rather than beliefs. We each reach our own conclusions. Child dedications also say to the new parents and the new children, you don't go at this work of parenting alone. There are others here. We bless the child with water that we as a community made holy simply by assembling it. Water that we use to bless new life and those who are dying. Water that we use to hold our tears and that we use to release what we need to let go of. When we are welcoming in new life, perhaps there is a natural tendency to turn away from others because new life is often messy and unpredictable. In those times, we turn to others instead. As human beings, we are made to be together, to share stories, and to support each other when times are tough. We depend on the generosity, support, and love of our communities and congregations. Maybe we should each search within our own lives to wonder what our commitments truly to the next generation. We each play a role in that next generation's formation. It takes a village. It takes a murmuration of starlings in flight to take care of each child. It takes a village for each of us to live. What if we made a commitment, each one of us, to care about and for, in some tangible way, 7 other people? And not just people of the same generation of us, but multi-generationally. And we found some way to show that care in a tangible way, perhaps casseroles for everyone, for the new moms and dads, for the newlyweds and the new widows, for the newly published, the new retirees, people who have survived illness, and the list goes on. Think too about wedding or commitment ceremonies. They say what will be different about this new life. 2 lives are now one, 2 families united. They mark the joy and, yes, the sorrows of new life. Those commitment ceremonies help orient the direction of our love. And if the ceremony is good, they remind others of the promises made on a wedding day. They remind everyone that there is challenge. I've taken to saying at weddings, and the rom-com that I was watching yesterday said the exact same thing, so you know it's true. That the end of the love story isn't they got married and lived happily ever after. It's they got married and it was a lot of work. Vows and promises we make to one another aren't meant to be forgotten or left dusty in a memory box. They're meant to have stretch marks on it. Words crossed out and added. They are meant to be tear-stained, coffee-stained, sun-bleached, maybe wine-stained as well. We are meant to change and renew our promises. From rituals of birth and love, we move now to rituals that happen at the end of our lives. The author David Eagleman tells that he believes that there are 3 deaths. The first, when the body ceases to function. The second, when the body is consigned to the grave or the flame. And the third, when that person's name is spoken for the last time. So we continue to make sure that those who we have lost live on as we remember their names in love and remember them. When someone we love dies, they take a part of us with them, and a part of us dies as well, it seems. By continuing to tell stories about those who have died, we also keep part of us alive. We buoy our spirits by remembering the good times we shared and the life of the person lost. We heal our spirits too when the one that we lost was a little bit complicated. This faith tradition that we are a part of, Unitarian Universalism, remains ambivalent and silent on the topic of the afterlife. Our faith tradition does say that what matters is the way that we live in this life. We work to build the common good and make our own days glad, the hymn goes. It also doesn't speak about salvation either, other than that there is a source of life and a great love that we come from when we are born and that we return to when we die, no matter what. Therefore, salvation or being made whole does not occur by the divine, but rather we are saved, made whole, and healed by our communities. When we are grieving or mourning the loss of anyone that we have loved, the natural tendency is to turn away from others, to isolate, turn towards others instead. As humans, we are made to be together, to share stories, and to support each other when times are tough. We depend on the generosity, support, and love of our communities and congregations. So, my friends gathered here, you might also be wondering, but those are just 3 life passages. What about the others? What about the ones that Hallmark doesn't make cards for? Those too are valid and worthy of having support. Perhaps that is what church community is for, a place to explore the creation of new rituals, to make the tender transition parts of our lives, to experience them together, to give, if not a compass and a map to guide us through those tough times, at least a fellow journeyer through the liminal moments of our lives, to help us make sense of the truth that Barbara Crooker wrote about. All of us beautiful, some way or another, all of us dazzling in the brilliant slanting light. May it be so. Let us now rise in body or spirit, both work just fine, to sing our closing hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
And so as we leave this friendly place, let us take the light of love out into the world and use it to brighten our pathways. And when we need to rest or recharge, be challenged or affirmed, may that light guide us safely back. May we hold the light always, and the light hold us always. Amen. And go in peace.